Here we go. Go, 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 go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we
What's up, y'all? Kofi Kingston here, and I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks, depending on what that drink is, preferably non-alcoholic, you know?
How's it going? Tell the Warriors, James.
Soda.
I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Maple syrup.
I would never have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Welcome to Wrestling on the Rocks, episode 1. Again, it's Marv's biggest return. Right here in the dive bar of the IWC. Guys, welcome.
Uh-oh.
It is back, audio back, technical difficulties. Take a drink with me today on Thursday Night Chaser to go over just, the misery that is the wrestling world at this day and age. We got Ms. Amanda Jane.
Hello. I thought I killed it again. But you know what? It's only episode 1. So, sorry.
I think Marv's butt brushed my mic and it turned it off.
Ew. 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 Yeah.
Why would? Because we both have one. Why would we not both have it on?
Yeah, why would we not? Hello.
Yeah. What do you? Why would we not both be wearing it? Like, you kidding?
Yeah.
This is the greatest thing that ever happened to wrestling. Was these? Oh, what's going on? Grim Reaper's in the chat. He says hello, and what's good? Blue Boy says take a drink.
God, my eyes.
Oh yeah, these were the giveaways at WrestleMania Access. If you bought anything at the Superstore, you got one of these Cinnamon Toast Crunch masks. And I was so thrilled. And then I was so confused watching WrestleMania how there wasn't just a sea of these in the crowd. You kidding?
Yeah. What the hell? But I see why.
Huh.
Wearing it. It's like you can't breathe in this thing. I'm dying.
I feel like I breathe better in this than most masks. You can see pretty good. It's a little tight on the old nose, but I got a big nose.
But it's not tight on my nose. It's like I feel like it's just I'm worried that my eyebrows are coming off underneath here.
Oh, that could be.
It has eyebrows.
But I mean that.
Here.
Yeah, but the mask has eyebrows, so you're good. You don't need them if the mask has them.
But I'm like, what? My eyes are watering now. I can never be a luchador.
Oh yeah, I don't know how the luchas do it.
I don't
But
know.
yeah, here you can take it off. Here we go.
Okay, hold on. Hold on.
But yeah, I thought that was the coolest thing they were giving away out there, and I was like, oh, definitely during whatever match is the Cinnamon Toast Crunch match, everyone's going to be wearing it. You're just going to see a sea of these in the crowd, and no, that's not at all what happened. I didn't see a single one on TV at all.
And
I was
everyone
looking.
bitched when they had was it the Ray match when these were like in the corner? Yeah, everyone bitched about it. So now I understand why they gave a lucha mask, because it was during the Ray match. Okay, I get it now.
Yeah,
cool
I got it. I was like, oh, can you imagine Rey Mysterio's out there having a match with his son, and he looks out to the crowd, and it's just like shitload of these crazy faces looking at him, just with the tongue out, and he's like, does the crowd even like it? They're all just Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
There's no emotion.
Yeah.
If they had different faces, right? That could have been cool.
That'd have been cool. Just like a series of different ones. That'd have been neat.
Yeah.
I still think it's a win. I still think it's cool. It's one of my favorite things I got that whole weekend.
It is. Guys, it's a
And you walked away with way more WWE merch than you've had in a while.
I sure did. I mean, I got these cool like WrestleMania little wristlets that, oh my God. Because my friend said she wanted it, and I'm like, damn it, I wanted one too. So made them go get it for me. Nice plastic bag, 2 shirts, and because we're wrestling on the rocks, a shot glass.
Yeah,
it's kind of
cool.
But my shirts, next week I'll wear the shirt, one of the 2 shirts. Obviously, I did buy the Cody Rhodes one because I'm a sucker. Finish the story. So now there's probably gonna be a part 2 shirt. So God damn you, WWE. God damn you, Cody Rhodes.
No, the next shirt needs to be him like with the cover of Never Ending Story.
Yeah, on the thing. Yeah. I bet you he'll do it.
Oh, can you imagine too if they did it where the dog is that big, whatever that thing was?
Or the dog or it
wasn't Atreyu. Was his name Atreyu? No.
I don't remember.
Yeah, where the dog Pharaoh is the big thing that he was riding.
Yeah.
That'd be sick.
That'd be totally sick. Good. Oh my God. You need to draw that. You need
I'm not
to.
as good at that part. I'll see if I can figure it out.
Well,
Grimreaper says everybody bitched about it. No, everyone bitched out about it. Like no one did it.
Yeah.
Why am I hearing myself? Why
but everyone hated. Oh, they didn't understand this. Like no one understood this. Like, why are there Cinnamon Toast Crunch like things? I think apparently someone said it ruined Ray's entrance. I don't know.
The big Cinnamon Toast Crunch?
Yeah.
You have to turn your volume down, Amanda.
I am. Better?
All I'm hearing is me right after I say it. Still.
Really?
There.
I'm not even that loud. I'm not even your mic.
No, it's not your... Well, the speakers was like on top of your mic or something.
Oh,
take episode 1, take a drink. What's in your glass?
Yeah, take a drink. I'm just drinking because unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but had a little dental work done. Regular Coke. But I do want to say, because it's not what you drink, who you're drinking with, because it is today 420. For those who do partake, happy 420. And I'll take one right now because I'm a little in pain. Ooh.
Right,
so happy 420. There you
I'm
go.
just having regular iced tea. I'm still trying to get over this sickness. I'm still sick.
How come you still have the WrestleMania funk? That funk was pretty bad. A lot of people got sick.
Yeah, I got pretty sick, and it's still my throat, and my ear, and everything. I've been in a lot of pain, and I don't know. I'm close enough to Mexico though, so we'll have Mexico fix me up.
There you go. And also, I was a little upset. I didn't see Marv. I was looking forward to see Marv.
I was told not to bring Marv.
Who said that?
I can't say who.
Well, I'd say the fart gun. I'd understand. Okay. I would agree with producer lady if you brought the fart gun.
The fart gun was also not allowed at the time.
Well, yeah, that shouldn't be allowed.
Which I thought the fart gun would have been perfect at Medusa's table at WrestleCon.
Oh no. I saw where you showed me photos of where you were standing.
Yeah.
I could see it
We were
now.
next to a bunch of people. Oh yeah, it'd have been great. It'd have been great. Christopher
Look at
Willis coming
QT
through. Cheers, Christopher
Marshall.
Willis.
Woo!
Oh my god, I could
But-
see QT Marshall from where I was. That dude's such fucking. I'll tell you this about WrestleCon, and I haven't really said it much about it on too many things. I was surprised at the amount of specifically AEW talent that really came off like they didn't want to be there. They came off very cold to a lot of the fans.
Can you name names?
No, but it was people who I didn't expect necessarily. I mean, I'll tell you some people who are really nice, but I was surprised at kind of the amount of AEW talent that I went, oh, they're the dick. Like,
Can I guess
it
one?
was-
Can I guess one? Because
You can try and guess one if you want.
Christopher Willis was here. Was it my friend Hollywood Wilhelms?
No,
Just nod? Or
No, he introduced himself to me, and he didn't have to. I was standing at Medusa's table, and he walked around. And he walked over, and we made eye contact. And I just went, "Oh, hey!" And he just reached his hand out and goes, "Hey, I'm Will," and shook my hand. And I was like, "Nice to meet you," you know. And then he kind of kept going. It wasn't like he was going to stand around and engage me in conversation, but we had made eye contact. I was standing by Medusa's table, and I was like, "Yeah, if you wanted to meet her, I can send her over to you afterwards or something." He was already kind of walking away, but no, he wasn't necessarily rude. I was surprised at like some of the ones who are considered bigger stars and whatnot. Ricky was really nice. He was cool. He was very gracious to the fans who came up to him. Billy Gunn and his kids. His kids were cracking me up. The Guns were sitting
his
at a
kids
table,
are funny.
and you could just hear them sometimes because we were in the downstairs area. They would just start screaming, "No free pictures!" Just screaming. And it was so funny that at one point I walked over and I was all like, "Hey, I heard you guys are doing free pictures. That's pretty cool." And then one of them went, "Oh, no, that's my dad's table." And I went, "Okay." Yeah.
Yeah, he got to
but
look
yeah.
at Ricky all day.
Yeah, Ricky was cool.
All day.
But yeah, I was kind of surprised at some of the talent that I had expected to be much nicer, to be very cold.
know,
The talent
Britt
who were really
Baker.
late, making their fans wait around.
Jade
It was
Cargill.
just, I was kind of surprised. I don't know if Cargill ever even showed up, to be honest. I don't know if she was booked.
Well,
on it.
you know what?
Daniel
I
Bryan
wouldn't be
came through.
surprised
He
if
was cool.
I wouldn't be surprised if she didn't, because she didn't show up at that second photo, opportunity, or the photo opportunity, the second one, because she had no line in the first one.
Yeah, she doesn't really do meet and greets. But I mean, whatever. But yeah, I was kind of surprised. But overall, I had a really good time. I met a lot of people. It was really nice. But it was kind of neat to be a little bit behind the curtain on some of it and go, "Oh, that person is not very nice." But I was also very happy and pleased with some people who were really nice. I had a really nice interaction with Mick Foley. You know?
What?
Yeah.
No, shut
Yeah,
up.
I'm
Shut
telling
up.
you, it's back and forth with that guy. Before we get too much into all the other stuff, though, do you want to knock out some birthdays?
Yeah, let's knock out some birthdays, because I know you guys have missed us and you've probably missed these. But today, happy birthday to our buddy Brian Myers. Happy birthday. Yeah, we got to see a lot of Matt Cardona that weekend. I don't know about you. I mean, I felt like, God, the guy was everywhere. But anyways, but no, happy birthday. Also, Brutus the Barber Beefcake, happy birthday. Chuck Taylor, happy birthday. And I was curious, did he name himself after the shoes? Because I thought he did. And apparently Whirling Street says no. But I'm probably wrong. And my source was probably wrong, because that's such a generic name. But anyways, yeah, Dijak's having a birthday. Moose, happy birthday. Britt Baker. Boy, did you hear MJF kind of roast her on his little thing this last Wednesday?
Yeah.
Man, basically, one of the lines he said, yeah, basically said that she sucked in her hometown. It was the best. Your parents are right there. I'm like, no filter.
Well,
Love MJF.
I don't think I have I don't have too many words for Britt Baker. I think she's already taken up too much time of our efforts.
I know, but anyways, let's see. Kane, happy birthday. But the most important birthday, I think, that's happening this week is on April 23rd. Mark your calendars, people. Why? Because on April 23rd in 1977, there was a dude that was born. He was a pretty legendary person. God damn it. If you didn't know, it's John Cena's birthday. So happy birthday to you. There's John Cena there if you're watching.
Oh yeah.
Happy
Yep.
birthday to you. And happy birthday to that big old Otai. Hey.
Yeah.
And those are your birthdays.
Yeah. Happy birthday, John Cena.
Yeah.
Yeah, big cheers to him.
Did I just wish his butt a happy birthday? I think I just did. Whoa.
Oh yeah, I mean the butt
Okay.
was the butt was had to start somewhere. You know what I mean? Started
I
from the
mean,
bottom.
I don't. I
Yeah.
love it. Oh,
Yeah, started from the bottom. Butt
I know.
joke.
Where's the fart gun? No, we need the fart gun. That's great. That's a good one to follow. There you go. Oh,
No,
wait a
yeah.
minute. There is a birthday because I forgot. Andre Chase. Have Chase you.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah, we've all forgotten about
NFC
Andre
sucks.
Chase. Christopher Will
Exactly.
says he's watching watching the basketball on mute while listening to the podcast. Yeah, thanks, dude. Let's see. Grim Reaper. Amanda would buy the seat Cena's had in the cigar bar that Marsh met him at. Yeah.
No.
How much for the chair? How much for the chair?
No, because I mean, okay, I've touched it 2 hands. Why I don't need to buy a chair that I was sitting on.
Well, that's the height.
Now,
That is the height of it.
if there was like, I don't know, movie worn clothing, if that's a thing, or costumes from a movie or whatnot, would I want to pay a piece of Peacemaker underwear? Maybe.
That'd be cool.
I don't know. That would be cool because then I would frame it with the one that Marsh sent me.
Yeah.
You can see it
Yeah, that's
without
pretty
the
good one.
glare. Yeah,
As soon as I
that's
saw it,
pretty
I was like, "Oh, that's pretty much what she needs."
That's me.
And
I want
let's
Cena
see.
to sign it too.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll talk a little WrestleCon week, if you want. The other thing I wanted to do, what we're doing, one of the reasons we took a couple weeks off is we were trying to regroup, refocus. I was trying to get well, and that did not go perfectly according to plan. But we've talked about it for a couple weeks now, or prior that I think it was episode 1 that AEW has been really flat and has felt very uninspired at best. NXT has gotten to a point where when we watch something that we really like, all we can think is, well, why isn't this happening on the main roster? And when we see something we really don't like, we think, well, why are they still doing this thing? And it's just gotten us in a weird spot viewing wise, where we haven't been that excited about either program. So we decided to take a break from those for the foreseeable future until something happens on either of those shows that actually piques our interest. I still keep up, obviously, on the, their social medias, their little clips and things they want you to see. And it looks like Tiffany Stratton's doing awesome work. Looks like Cora Jade's doing some cool stuff. The women are killing it over there. But again, I just keep going back to, why are they still just down there? The women need a boost on the main roster. And then you watch stuff on the main roster and go, the women are really struggling up here. And so it just makes a little for frustration, right?
Yeah.
Jeff Hardy returned, which is nice for him, and we hope for the best. But we've been down this road before, and I just hope for the best. That's all. I'm kind of past the point of just being super excited that he's back. I just go, I hope this is the one that takes. And outside of that, I've seen any clips on any of those things that I've gone like, oh my god, I have to go set aside time to see that thing. So we decided we were going to watch Impact Rebellion. That was a big pay-per-view they had, where they were crowning 2 new champions for sure, because both the women's world and the men's heavyweight world were vacated due to injury. Mickie James and Josh Alexander both had to vacate their titles. So we thought, well, if nothing else, we're going to see some big moments. Let's watch that. And then today, while I was editing, you hit me up and said, hey, I know you might be busy, but Ring of Honor's live right now if you want to check it out. Main event's going to be Samoa Joe and Colt. And I was like, well, that sounds like a pretty cool main event. So I put it on, and it turned out I tuned in during the second match, and so I got to see almost all of Ring of Honor. So today we're going to talk about Impact and Ring of Honor to the best of our ability.
But
Ring of Honor
you know what?
Huh.
We missed thank God we missed the damn Kingdom. Oh God.
I saw
Thank
that when I
God.
pulled up the results. I went, "Oh, thank God, I missed the opening show." Yeah. I think with Ring of Honor, it's going to have to be pretty picky about what we end up pulling from there because, I mean, let's
Yeah.
just start with Ring of Honor. Fuck it, that was today. That happened earlier,
Yeah.
and
It
we'll talk about
was
these shows, and then we'll talk
yeah.
about what you did WrestleMania weekend. So
Okay. Yeah.
we'll close out on the fun
I don't
stuff.
know about you.
Hmm.
Did you feel like Ring of Honor, because this was filmed last week, it had this, it was clunky. It like
It felt
you're like, like what? I don't know.
I
That's how I
felt like
felt. Like
watching
looking back at
the whole thing felt like I was watching just an episode of Dark. A lot of it felt like why am I watching this? Like it felt like NXT in its worst moments, and it felt like AEW in its worst moments in Ring of Honor. It didn't feel like Ring of Honor. This felt like AEW. It felt a
you
lot like
know,
AEW. And I was
you
hoping it'd have a
definitely
different vibe.
missed. Well, you definitely missed, and thank God you did not have to hear it unless you. I was like, why is Ring of Honor still back on again? Because then they repeated it again. But
Yeah.
you missed for the second week in a row. Ian Riccaboni was rapping. He should not be rapping when Willow Nightingale is making her entrance. It was horrible.
What?
Like, I'm sorry, Ian Riccaboni, you're becoming trash.
I muted it.
I'm
As soon
just
as
embarrassed.
I turned it
I'm
on and I heard
embarrassed.
the audio, and Ian started screaming something about Willow Nightingale because she landed some move, and he was just like, "Go!" Like it was a fucking
Oh
soccer
God,
goal.
he's bad.
And I went, "What
Yeah,
the
he's
fuck?"
horrible.
I just hit mute because I was like, "This is stupid." Like, so I muted the entire thing. I didn't hear a word of commentary the rest of the show.
Well, yeah, because let me tell you, I mean, I love Caprice Coleman, but sometimes, like when Ian goes off the rails, Caprice sometimes can't reel him back in. That's why I loved when Colt was there, because Colt would not stand for some of that bullshit and tomfoolery, and then you see him wrestle, and you're like, oh, but no, I mean, he was
Colt's
at least
really like
serious
time
at
and
that
place, time and place.
time and place. That's why I think if Nigel were there, I'm
says,
not.
"Leave my
I'm
Ian
going
alone,
after
boo
Ian.
boo."
No, Ian Riccaboni. No. Okay, if Nigel, I swear to God, if Nigel was a part of that, he would have gotten up and put the headphones on and said, "Fuck this shit. I'm gone. I don't want to be
Nigel
here
would be
anymore."
so good on commentary over there. And here's the other deal: is I've never muted Ian Riccaboni before because I've always thought he was just like. I mean, I don't know. I'm not trying to be mean, but I know it's mean. I thought he was baseline mediocre, and I thought he was just fine. He was kind of staticky. He was okay. I didn't think he was great. I never thought he was amazing. I didn't think he was awful. He was just fine. So it was just like, okay, I can listen to that. But then when he started screaming all that random shit for Willow, I was like, all right, that's enough. I don't want to hear what else he gets excited for. But yeah, we missed the Kingdom. I saw Willow Nightingale versus Robin Renegade. I do like the Renegade twins. They're really cool. They were walking around a lot at WrestleCon.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
I'm sure they had a table, but I saw them walking around more than I saw most talent walking around. So I don't know if they were just like, okay, let's just walk,
Let's
but
just walk around.
yeah. But the Renegade twins I like a lot, and I thought they did a good job here. I thought Willow was fine. She's getting better. Yeah, I didn't have a big issue with this part. I thought it was fine.
No, I have more of the issue of Ian Riccaboni rapping again. And I just am like, no.
Well, I mean, I had a big issue with like a huge chunk after that match. A lot of it after that. Lance Archer. I like the whole thing, his whole gimmick where he's beating someone up on the ramp on the way out and then drags them out and continues to beat them up on the way out is so stupid to me.
That's boring.
Like, it doesn't come off vicious. It comes off like cartoonish. Like this, you know what it was? It felt like, remember when WWE had a crossover with Scooby-Doo? This was like a live action version of that. everyone was playing a cartoon version of a wrestler. This was like Scooby-Doo wrestling, is what I felt like watching a lot of this.
Oh.
And that's
Well,
not
as
the heart
Shaggy
and
would
soul of Ring
say,
of Honor.
no, but if Shaggy would say, zoinks.
Zoinks.
But
Yeah, this is Ring of Honor zoinks to me.
Okay, it's funny you say that because you did not turn. You did, to clarify, you did not turn the commentary back on, correct?
Did not.
At all.
I never
Okay.
heard another sound.
Funny you say this because then all of a sudden, when we get to the main event, Ian is like, "Oh yeah, you know, like going on about history of Ring of Honor," and it's funny to me that I'm just like, "Wow, Scooby Doo," and then they try to legitimize the Scooby Doo. It's hilarious. That was a call out I got just now. I'm like, wow.
That's what it was too, because I turned it on kind of excited when it said it's live right now. I was like, oh, you know what? That'll be great. This will be awesome. I'll watch Impact and Ring of Honor. It's gonna be great. This did not feel like Ring of Honor. This felt like AEW pre-dark YouTube stuff. To be honest, as I'm watching it, I was thinking, this is behind a paywall. People have to pay to watch this. That was embarrassing.
I pay. I'm embarrassed. I pay.
I watched it without paying for it, but that's a different story.
But you know what? But you know why I pay? I pay for the catalog. I go back and watch things. Although
that's just it too.
There are things that aren't on there that should be on there. So I have to go to Fight TV if I want to see the other things. That's annoying.
That is really annoying. And that's the other thing too, is that this is the first time I watched an ROH show. Since AEW bought it. But it's the first time I've watched their show since they've launched their thing, and I thought this was terrible. Everything before I've seen of Ring of Honor I've really liked. And even the pay-per-views that Tony was putting on under the ROH banner had stuff I wasn't fond of, but I overall liked the show, and typically really loved the main events. This was one where I was like, I don't know if we should be recovering Ring of Honor either after watching this episode. Like, is he's going to treat it like his YouTube channel? This was really disappointing. I didn't hate Brian Cage and Joey Jett, but it wasn't special in the mix of it all.
Well,
Brian Cage still doesn't wrestle as hard as he did in Lucha Underground, and that's a bummer.
Well, Lucha Underground. Okay, that was amazing stuff.
I know.
Okay, that came out of Lucha Underground. So comparing Brian Cage from Lucha Underground compared to this, you know. But I will say this: Brian Cage, when I would see him at like bar wrestling, wrestled a hell of a lot better than he does on Ring of Honor and AEW.
Do you think he's just kind of like protecting himself? You know what I mean? Do you think he's kind of like phoning it in for Tony because he feels like that? I mean, he clearly doesn't seem like he's being respected and utilized well there, but it's clearly good money. So I wonder if he's just kind of like,
what, 4 years, 5 years?
Something like that. So I wonder if the idea is he's just out there being like, hey, I'll phone it in here, but the stuff I really like and want to do that's elsewhere, that's where I'm really going to turn it up. That wouldn't surprise me. And I'm not even like mad at him if that's what he's doing, but it's just, I don't know. I don't want to be like blowing through it though. Is there any of these matches that you wanted to talk about specifically so far?
You know, one that I was kind of excited to see, and you kind of like, oh, it's choreographed and very cooperative.
We're not there yet. We're not there yet because the next. No, about those ones, those three that I was burning through, those three matches. Okay, cool. So as we keep going, Athena versus Heather Reckless. My big takeaway here was, damn, Heather Reckless is really good.
She is. And my other takeaway was, damn,
go ahead.
Athena
was not as good as Heather. This was one where by the end of it, I was all like, who's supposed to be the champion here? Like, and I'm not trying to like talk shit. I like Athena a lot. I think she's really cool. And I actually thought about it at WrestleCon. She came by to the table next to mine, and I was like, "Oh, I'm not going to bother her." And then later on, I was like, "Oh wait, there's actually something that I would have liked to talk to her about." But I mean, I like her a lot. I think she's great as a person. I think she's really nice. We've always been big fans of her Twitch channel. I believe she's back on it now too. So, but yeah, I felt like she was a little upshowed here by Heather Reckless, and really made me take note of Heather, and really kind of. I mean, we've talked about it before. I wonder. I don't know. I just wonder who's stepping up and who's getting comfortable.
Well,
You know.
It's interesting because I was watching an interview that she did. It was a real short little thing the other day, and how, she's really excited about the women's division. I don't know if they're going to call it Women of Honor anymore, but and kind of being one that's spearheading it. And it's very interesting when you see that, and then you see this match, and it's like, is that the same chick that I just saw talk about how proud she is of this division and leading it? Because the girl over here wrestling was a hell of a lot better. But I don't know. But I just thought that was kind of interesting. But I do wonder, because it's a paywall, and I did see Ring of Honor in LA, and I'll talk about it. But you're right about Tony. There's the pay-per-views are a lot. They're like, wow, they're solid versus this.
I mean, I wonder if there's also just like, I wonder if it's just starting to come off on screen the like a laissez-faire attitude in the back. If it's like, hey, we've made it, and hey, because I've heard that criticism before from people who've talked about backstage stuff, that there's kind of an air in the locker room of, well, we made it, we did it, this is all we got to do is keep doing this. That there's not as much pressure to be better, to get better, to do more, to fight for anything. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh, you're just there now. So I don't know. I wonder if that stuff's coming across a little bit for the people who are like long-term signed versus people who are still trying to get signed. Because that's the other problem here, is that, like, I'm sure Heather Reckless isn't signed. No. She's there trying to show that she deserves a contract, where Athena's like, I got 4 more years on this bitch. I'm coasting,
I
don't know. I was surprised. And at the end of the day, I'm going to be keeping an eye out for Heather Reckless. I was really, really impressed by her. She was one too where I was like, she should be in NXT.
Yeah.
Lee Johnson and Cole Carter versus Dark Order, I was really not into, but did you like it?
No. It's just you're giving Johnny Hungy and Alex Reynolds work.
Yeah.
And that's all.
Penta versus Nick Camarado.
Well, it's interesting. Speaking of people that when you're signed, that in this match, at least with Penta, because I've seen him enough times that most people be, oh my god, I'm like, it bores me, to be honest. This was Indie Penta. We did the thing with the glove and the the tossing it over, because we don't see that anymore on AEW. So ROH is like, what is this, experimental TV? I don't know. But I'm like, oh, okay, this is the indie, like, I'm paying Pentagon, like, I don't know what his rate is, but I'm paying him money to come do my indie show. That's what that was like in that match. And I'm like, boring. And then I'm Nick Camarado. You're still working for Tony Khan? Okay.
Yeah, I was surprised to see him too.
So yeah,
that was my other takeaway. As soon as I saw his name, I went, oh shit, he's still here. Yeah. And this also makes you wonder too, because there's all that rumor now that there's going to be the show on Saturday. They're going to have a 2-hour show on Saturday. They're going to have the 2-hour show on Wednesday. They have the 1-hour show on Friday, and they have, how long was this ROH? Was this 2 hours?
Almost.
I think it was 2 hours.
Long.
It just kept
it's
going.
unnecessarily long. Yeah.
So if he's doing all the shows kind of like this, and they're already, you can tell that a lot of them are not taking care of all that well. Like, what's the Saturday 2-hour show going to look like? I don't know. It's I don't know that more is the right answer, but we did get to Lee Moriarty versus Takeshita.
Yeah. Or like,
and
you like
first
to say,
I was like, this.
Take a shit up.
I mean, you said this one's going to be good, and I was like, you know what? Maybe it will be. I've always thought Lee Moriarty had more promise than I saw, but he's comes off kind of phony, and I've seen some decent stuff out of Takeshita, and you really liked him when you saw him live.
Mhm.
This match got so bad so fast and stayed that way. It was like
You know,
this was cartoony, play wrestler, trampoline, wrestling with your brother in the living room stuff. All right, give me your arm. There was literally a move Lee Moriarty did that required Takeshita to put his own leg up because he's facing away. He had to kick his leg up and then take his hands and clap them underneath his own leg and then
yeah,
hold his
that
leg
move, that was weird.
while Lee flipped him. And I was like,
Yeah,
all that happened
that was weird.
behind Lee's back. What are you doing? And it was so
weird.
Lee could get some. It was so weird. I was like, what the fuck? But it looked like two kids wrestling in the living room, is what it looked like. No one looked like they were getting anywhere near hurting each other, hitting each other, or doing a move that had any kind of impact. This could have been a pillow fight. That's how I watched it.
Well, like I was telling you, Lee Moriarty, I think now I've seen Lee Moriarty a couple of times, and I think he's gotten complacent. I think this is the theme. When you get signed, you get complacent with these things. Like it's almost like you don't care anymore, or it's like you know. So I think that's where it's underwhelming. And so this match, I think I expected more because the last time, like when I saw Takeshita in LA, it was like, wow. I mean, he had some amazing like matches in LA. I only saw one of them. And to be honest, I'm kind of like, man, this, because it looks great on paper.
Yeah.
And just hearing it in my head, like if you were to tell me it was those two, I'm like, oh my God, that's going to be a really good match. That was like, sorry, guess I was wrong. But I mean, it was a little weird. I like how you said to me it was cooperative wrestling, and I'm like, yeah,
It was
very
really
mid.
because there was also stuff where Lee's like trying to hook Takeshita's arm and he can't reach back, so he just kind of like waves his hand over, and so Takeshita reaches his arm over to hook it.
Yeah.
And you're all like, all right, put yourself in the move for me. You got it, pal. It's like, oh my God. Like it was, I don't know. I mean, maybe there's a reason this was on basically YouTube, but it shouldn't be behind a paywall. There's only a couple more matches left, to be honest, because I was getting, at this point I was going like, man, I thought I missed most of the show, but it turns out I'm watching all of it.
I thought I did too.
The next one I already saw a version of. It was El Hijo del Vikingo versus Gringo Loco. These are two AAA wrestlers having a one-on-one match on Ring of Honor Wrestling for the AAA Mega Championship. I don't know if it was for the title or not, if I'm being honest, but it was out there. And it was really good, but it was a AAA match in the middle of a Ring of Honor show, and I was confused. I was like, there's no Ring of Honor person here at all. This is literally like...
Well,
like they're not even signed. Like you could have had Hammerstone versus Jacob Fatu here, and it would have made as much sense.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Well, we've seen the Kingo on AEW programming, so that's where it kind of makes sense because it's like incest in its own way.
Sure,
wrestling incest.
But I would put a Vikingo against somebody who's not a AAA guy, and have Gringo Loco against someone who's an ROH guy. Like get two matches out of this.
I think it's because technically Gringo Loco is a local to that area, so that's why.
Where was it recorded?
Like he got the shot because he's from the area, like what, Ohio, Illinois, whatever. Yeah, because
it was filmed in Ohio, Illinois. I have a feeling that's not true.
Well, the first time I've ever seen Gringo Loco was at AIW in Ohio. Okay. And then I've seen him I saw him, I think, at AAW too in Chicago. Either that or Freeland, I can't remember. But I've seen him there before. So I mean that's probably why. Because the only reason why like Silas Young was on Dynamite or Rampage or whatever one he was on, because he's from Milwaukee, right?
Huh.
So
yeah.
that's
Well,
a shame.
I mean, it was a good
he's not
match.
back in Ring. There's a couple of them, but that's a shame he's not back in Ring of Honor.
Yeah. I mean, I did I did like both guys, and I liked the match, and I thought it was good, but I also like AAA, so it was just kind of like, okay, cool. I'll take a break from Ring of Honor, watch a AAA match real quick, and then get back to the regular scheduled program.
It's like, does Conan know you're doing this, Tony Khan? He must be okay with it because he walked out with the belt.
Oh yeah, I know Conan and them have a working relationship, even though he's very critical of Tony on his podcast and stuff. They clearly have a good working relationship there. So, yeah. I mean, even Conan said on his podcast this past week that Tony was pretty mad that Dragon Lee beat FTR right before Dragon Lee went to NXT. I like the petty stuff.
A lot of people in my area are really mad about Dragon Lee winning like King of the Indies 3 times in a row. But thank God he went to NXT, because now he wouldn't do drag and do Queen of the Indies and win that. So thank God you're in WWE now. Have fun.
Iron Savages, formerly the Bear Country, against Ren Jones and Logan Lynch. I didn't like any of this. I don't like them. I was ready to move on.
didn't know that that was the reincarnated Bear Country, and I liked Bear Country, and now I don't. That's all I know. And also, why the hell did that follow Vikingo and Gringo Loco? That would have been all, Jesus Christ. If this was how it really went live, which I don't think it did, I would have been all, fuck, I would have left. But I stayed because, the main event.
Yeah.
But,
they were, I mean, and they were another Ring of Honor zoinks. You know what I mean? They were very cartoony character-wise and stuff. And that was the other thing. Some of these people who are coming out here trying to be heels come off so disingenuous as a heel. The way they try to work the crowd, and you're like, I'm not buying it at all. You're acting like someone at a swap meet. What the fuck? Actually, I've seen some pretty legit heels at swap meets now I think about it. Samoa Joe versus Colt Cabana closed out the show. I was pretty excited about this. This is like, they've had a few matches, obviously. I mean, even Colt talked about it. That was the only time I turned the sound on, was during Colt's promo. I saw him backstage, so I turned the sound back on. It was a shorter match than I would have liked. It was way more silly than I would have liked. But maybe that's part of what made it decent, is maybe the idea of Colt being such a goof in this lended credence to Samoa Joe just smashing Colt. But I would have liked it to be more violent if that was the idea. If Colt was like goofing with them, and because he was poking his head around him and being like, I'm over here and I'm over here. It would have been pretty cool if Samoa just turned around, just smashed the shit out of him, and let him just lay there. Doesn't need to like cut himself like Mox. He could have just been fucking demolished.
Colt would not do that. Come on now. He's beyond that.
Colt's not dumb. He's not going to do that. But he could get super demolished, and then you can go back to, I would even say, run a whole program with the two of them, where Colt like now has to take this seriously, and then has like a longer 20-minute match with Samoa Joe on a pay-per-view for a title. It would be really cool if it started with Colt just not taking his chance seriously. You know what I mean? That's not exactly the story that we got here, though.
Well, first of all, you're a little critical there, mister. Not because it's Colt Cabana, but you also have to remember this. When was the last time we saw Colt Cabana wrestle on TV?
Against Chris Jericho.
I'll tell you. Thank you.
Jericho brought him back.
And
because Jericho's
I know he was injured. I know Colt was injured, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, yo, okay? He could have wrestled anybody coming back. But Tony decided, let's feed him to Samoa Joe. What are you expecting? I'm not expecting a win. Talk about, why would Cole put his effort into it when he was like, this is a squash match for Joe. I'm doing it because... So
you're saying that Colt Cabana gave Samoa Joe the HBK Hogan treatment?
No, I'm not saying that.
That's what you're
I'm
saying. You're saying
saying
he
that
threw the match and made it overly comedic
I
because he
didn't
knew he
say
was
he
going to
threw
leave
the
anyways.
match.
You
I'm
just
saying
said
you
that.
don't get. No, you're not getting. Okay, there is
Because that's what
there's
HBK
two
did.
types of Colt Cabana. Okay, you get the one you don't like, all this comedy, and then there's another one. There's serious Colt Cabana. Okay, the reason why I'm paying the paywall is so I can see some of this old shit, right? And I will tell you, there is a serious match that you would not think was a serious match, but actually, goddamn it, Colt Cabana made it a serious match. And it was at Death Before Dishonor 2019. The match versus him and Marty Skrull. That was my match. But anyways, Colt was serious in that match. And it's not because whatever. He actually was serious when he wrestled Sonata. Okay,
He's been serious in a bunch of matches. You don't have to go to the same one every time when you're trying to talk about one time he did it. He does it a lot. He gets serious a lot
that's why
of
I said
times.
Sonata. I said Sonata, you know?
And this is one,
And
like, I don't
then
even mind when he does a couple little things that are goofy here and there because that's part of who he is. But this is one where this was Scooby-Doo too. He was literally
he
poking his
also,
head on
yes,
one
it
side
was,
and poking his head on another side. Like, he was a cartoon.
yeah. But that's the allure of Colt Cabana. He did also have a serious match at Miss Mania. I will say that.
Sure, but that's not what we're
He did.
talking about. We're talking about his
But
match
I'm
against
just
Samoa Joe.
telling you, he has serious matches sometimes.
Which
That's
I'm
what
saying we all are fully aware of, and that's my problem with this match.
Well, I'm sorry that he decided to be mid Colt Cabana. So sorry.
I just think that if you're gonna do that, you could still do something cool with that. You know what I mean? Like, if you're like, hey, dude, it's my first match back, and I'm gonna job anyways. Let's make it really silly, but you also like demolish me, and then let's start a program where now I got to get serious if I'm
Colt
gonna
has
get
pride.
this my
He's
next
not going to
chance.
say demolish me.
You're not gonna say that? Why would he not say that?
He's not going to say demolish me. No.
Oh yeah.
No.
Oh
Joe's
yeah.
like, I'm going to kill you. And Cole's like, yeah, I know. Let me just get my good stuff, my greatest hits in,
Yeah, I just think that there's a cool story to be told here. That I feel like
There
that
is.
the match wasn't trash. It just wasn't. I just didn't like it much because there was potential to have the same match but with a story and build to more matches. And then this was just kind of like, all right, well, I guess the main event was a couple people goofing off.
Well, it could have been better. 1, 2, they could have had a better crowd. Okay, they were more hyped for Vikingo and Gringo logo. Okay, they could have had a better crowd. This is where I think AEW fails. Their crowds, even Ring of Honor, their crowds are stale. They're stale. I'm just saying. Can't always be excited. Me in the front row.
Chris does say Ring of Honor needs to go back to 1 hour. Yeah, I was like shocked by it being 2 hours, and it kind of
that was like an hour and a half of my time that I can't get back in my life.
Yeah, there was maybe 3 matches that I'm glad I saw.
Yeah.
The rest
and you
of it
didn't
was
really hear any commentary. You did miss the history lesson of Colt and Samoa Joe, as told by Ian Riccaboni. I will at least give Ian that. But it was kind of cool to hear about that. You did miss that. So.
Well, because was it just about the other 2 matches they had? What, for the other titles?
Yeah, and and how, and it was also like, Colt's like the bridesmaid, never the bride when it comes to Ring of Honor singles championships.
Yeah, you can't make that story and that argument and then have him goof off. Because then you go, oh, it's not that he's just never the bride, it's that he doesn't take it seriously enough to try to win. Because he didn't come off like someone who was trying to win.
He did take it more seriously with Jericho. And I think
he came off like someone who was trying to win that match. This is one where he did not come off that way.
Well, because for him, it's more prestigious for him to have the actual Ring of Honor championship. I would love to see him and Claudio. I know Claudio would destroy him, but that would be something good.
That'd be cool.
I'd like to
Chris Willis says Mark Briscoe not winning the TV championship still hurts my soul. Fuck you, Tony Khan.
Yeah, that was bad.
I don't know anybody who was happy with that call.
No.
But I don't know if we're gonna cover.
Yeah, that was sad.
Yeah. I think we're going to rotate through what we end up covering every week. You know, if MLW seems to have a hot week, we're going to watch it. If NWA is doing something cool somewhere, we'll take a peek at it, kind of a deal. Impact, we're going to be keeping an eye on for sure. But I think that depending on what the matches are next week for Ring of Honor, I may or may not watch any of those matches. So we'll see as it comes. So we're going to be a little less consistent on this particular night, Thursday Night Chaser, on what we're covering every week. Because since we're taking a break from NXT and AEW, we're just going to try and dip our fingers into basically the whole rest of all of it. Does AAA have a cool show coming up that we want to check out? Yeah, New Japan. There's the 3-way that Mercedes had. I wanted to go back and watch. Like her next match, we should be talking about as well. Like, the things that are happening outside of NXT and AEW specifically, or even in there, if there's a match, we're just going to try and find the hot matches that are not happening on WWE. And maybe just find those matches and talk about them and stuff, because these full-on shows are.
Yeah, I think Tiffany Stratton, we need to go back and look at her because she's doing great work, and we've been huge fans of her work. So,
her match with Sol Ruca was incredible.
I have to go back and watch it. I heard it. But I got to go back.
Well, they had like 2 now, I think, but it was incredible. I'm starting to wonder if, as a side note, with the NXT women's division, watching them and who's kind of coming up and doing what, I'm wondering if the future move is turning the women's division effectively into what the cruiserweight division was in WCW, like the Luchas. You know what I mean? Like, what if the women weren't just, not that you can't have, obviously your Beckys and Baileys and Sashas and Biancas. There's room for a lot of that stuff. Piper Niven, you know what I mean? She's not going to be a lucha. Like, you have room for other stuff because that's who we are as the WWE, right? But what if, by and large, the women were a lot more lucha style-esque and a lot more attraction, not physically, visually attraction, and just the attraction of a woman who's tough, but also like, what if they're doing like the lucha cruiserweight type stuff where it's like, no, they're fast paced, they're hard hitting, they're crazy, they're, you know what I mean? Like, because they picked up a lot of gymnasts. So that's my theory. That's where we're going with the women's division. And I'm actually like pretty excited about that.
Yeah, it's good theory. Good theory.
Better
than Austin theory.
And when you see Stratton and Sol Ruca, I think you'll see what I'm talking about.
Okay. I'll take a peek at that.
Let's talk Impact Rebellion. So, do you play video games much? Like the wrestling games at all?
Not as much as I used to.
Right. Me neither. I don't play as much as I used to, but you know how, like, so I would buy all the 2K games and I'd buy them and you say, oh, it's this guy on the roster, this guy on the roster. And I was going through playing 2K 20 and 22 and 2019, I was playing all those ones. And then at one point, after like, I think it was when Battleground came out, the last one that was like kind of cartoony before 2K came back. And I had asked Kev, let me borrow 2K16. That's the one that you'd play the showcase of Stone Cold's career. And he goes, yeah, let me. And so he grabbed it and I played through it. And when you plug it in and you go through the roster, there's this moment where you're going through and you go, oh, shoot, I forgot about that guy. Oh, my God, I loved that tag team. And you start putting together all these like Monster My Universe cards of all this talent that's not around anymore that you really liked. That's what watching Impact felt like to me. It felt like I borrowed someone's video game from 6 years ago.
Wow. And you know what's funny? I bet you some of those guys did mocap, because a lot of the guys that did mocap for those games are either signed to AEW, WWE right now, or Impact. Wouldn't surprise me.
Leo Rush did a lot of their motion capture, and I'm trying to remember. There's a couple other people who talked about some of it too. But yeah, there was I can't remember who it was, because one of the dudes was talking about doing it, and he talked about how he did Sasha's entrance, and it was really tough for him to get the motions back, the motions down. He had to do the Sasha Banks thing, and I don't remember who it was. But yeah, I love seeing stuff like that. But
I know Sanjay Dutt did a lot, and Trent Beretta did a lot, and
maybe it was Trent. But
I think it might have been
so
Trent. I think it might have.
it's not even
Cameron
like,
Grimes
it
did
sounds
it.
really negative to say it that way, but it was also that same level of excitement. Like when I turned on Impact and I saw Rhino coming out and Heath Slater coming out, and I was like, holy shit, not only are they still here, but they're still a tag team. Let's fucking do this. And those are my guys who I was rooting for. You know what I mean? I was like, I want them to do this. Like, it was really fun to see the guys I hadn't seen in a while. You know,
Mhm.
Heath and Rhino lost, and I was like, oh. Are
It is what
they
it
still
is.
just losing a lot? But I thought it was a good match. It was a nice tag match opening it up.
Mhm.
Do you have anything on that one?
You know, that was funny because that was the first thing I thought was, they're still tagging? I'm like, what? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm like, okay. This is okay. You can hang with it. One thing that is consistent that I found through Rebellion is that I don't think anything really lacks. You know what I mean? Like, you know how sometimes you're like, oh, there's always in one of these like pay-per-views or whatever something that just is like, mhm. But this didn't have that for me, and even from the beginning. So that's where I was kind of like, oh,
There was
okay,
a few things I
all
didn't
right.
care for, but yeah, I didn't feel like anything felt like a total waste of time or that anything was awful.
No, there could have been things that were awful, but I don't think it was, it was maybe to me because I'm like a very casual viewer of Impact, that I don't know, maybe it didn't bother me because everything else like that I watch, there's shit that bothers me. I don't know.
Could be. Uh,
Mhm.
yeah, it was cool to see them. After that, we had the Knockouts World Tag Team Champions, the Coven, Taylor Wilde and Kylie King versus the Death Doll of Rosemary and Jessica. And so this was my first time getting the chance to actually see the women. The women I have been hearing so much about as being an awesome division. One of the things I noticed that I thought was really cool that Impact was doing
Mhm.
is I was trying to watch it and be like, oh, are they, are they hitting hard or what are they doing? Are they gonna whiff it? Like you're just kind of not sure what you're getting nowadays, especially. So it's kind of like watching it, and every time I was like, I couldn't quite tell. I realized that they were doing camera cuts to protect the talent, and I was like, oh shit, that's what's really missing in AEW is the proper camera cuts. Like if you know that they're gonna miss or something, but they still have to sell it, flip that camera, motherfucker. You know, like the Kevin Dunn
Mm,
style stuff that people try to knock on all the time is what protects a lot of the talent from
yeah.
looking bad, who then leave the company and start looking bad. And people are like, did I just not see it before? It's like, no, they were just really protected by production before. So that's just
Yeah.
not to talk down on the women at all. That's to talk really highly of their production, protecting the women in such a way that as I was trying to critically watch, I found myself just being lost in the match and enjoying it and thinking they were doing really good and realizing that a lot of the production protected them or protected me from seeing any of the holes in the game if they had it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because there's a lot of times
But
you see them like
then,
connect. It was good. Go ahead.
yeah, I will say that with these four, okay, first of all, Tony Khan fucked up because Kylan King she
She's
was
good.
one that he should have banked on because she's amazing now. Period.
Yeah.
I will be a little, biased to friend of the show, Thunder Rosa and Mission Pro. I'll be a little biased when it comes, because that's where she really got a lot of her stuff
Yeah.
in. And, but damn, when I was watching that, I'm like, damn. And I already love fucking Jessica because she's sick, but I've always loved her anyway.
Mm.
And Rosemary. And I was just like, damn, this was just awesome to see. And I'm like, there's a reason why they say that, they were the ones that had the best women's division. Now, yeah, NXT was rivaling that, and it could rival it, but to be honest, in some of that heyday, Impact was the one. I mean, there's
Yeah.
why did Gail go back so much? Gail Kim. I mean,
Mhm.
just the talent thing. Look at Mickey, another person too. So there's a lot
Yeah.
of history, a lot of legacy over there too. So
I do think that outside of WWE or NXT, the Impact has the best women's division. After watching this, it's like, okay, yeah, that's where
yeah,
they're not getting paid as much as the AEW girls, but
no,
they're just so much better.
no. But and then also I think the way that with Taya and when she came back, because obviously that was a home for her for a long time, but in that kind of that mid kind of transition and things like that, the way that they kind of dealt with it, because she was heavy deep in storyline and had the title, obviously with
Mhm.
Death Dolls. So I mean, that was a great thing, and the way they kind of ended that and transitioned, it was really good, and it's a test to what Scott Demore's doing over there. So sometimes it's like
Yeah.
that's how when you're building some of these storylines, it's like sometimes I'm like, Tony, you need to watch what this guy's doing, or damn, listen to Don Callis, because Don was like heavily wrapped up over there too. And it's like, listen to some of these guys because, they're doing something right.
Yeah. Yeah. Something's going on over there. It's definitely it felt really cool. Felt really special over there. Christopher Willis says he saw Rebellion this past Sunday and it was a solid B. I think it's a fair grade.
Yeah, fair grade. Yeah.
But it was cool. It was cool to see it. They retained Impact World Tag Team Championships. This is the Ultimate X match. Ace Austin, Chris Bay against Motor City Machine Guns. It was an exciting. I don't know what you're doing.
The oven mitt, and that's where Detroit is.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. For those at home listening, I have my hand up in like a 5, and I'm pointing where my thumb part is, because Michigan's an oven mitt. Whatever. Anyways, sorry.
Yeah, it sounds like a Michigan thing. Do you need to
Well,
blow your nose?
Motor City Machine Guns. Okay, anyways, sorry.
It was a really cool match overall. I think that, I mean, sometimes for me, I'm not as into all of the, as people try to like minimize it, call it flippy dippy shit. I don't call it that because I don't think it's minimized. Sometimes it could be a bit much in one show. You know what this kind of felt like though to me? This kind of felt like it felt a little GCW with a budget. Like this kind of reminded me of being at a GCW show with some of the styles. The X match seemed like the kind of thing that I would have seen at a GCW show, especially obviously when we get to Mike Bailey and all that. But it fit here pretty well, and it was really cool. And I really like Chris Bay getting the win in that neat way where he's hanging upside down and tosses the titles to his partner. Like, I liked it. It was cool. I don't remember the last X match I've seen all the way through. I think my issue with some of the quote flippy dippy shit is the amount of cooperation that some of the stuff takes. Like that's my biggest problem with Commander. He does really cool stuff, but none of it looks like a wrestling contest. You go, oh, that is really neat. That's got to be really tough to bounce around on the ropes like that. Why is that guy standing there and holding him up to do it? You know what I mean? So stuff like that is what really kind of makes me go like, I don't know. But I feel like there wasn't a ton of that in here that really pulled me out, which is what I'm trying to say is like a good thing, you know? It's pretty cool.
I kind of thought, I don't know, because they're making such a big deal about Chris Sabin and 20 years with Impact and all this other, whatever, that maybe they'd win. But, we have to assert the dominance of Bullet Club. So, but it was kind of cool to see that the old guys can hang, these mid-40 guys that can hang like that with these young kids. That's a testament to the talent that they have.
Yeah. Is Chris Bay and Ace Austin their Bullet Club?
Yep.
Oh, that's weird.
You know that?
No. Did they say anything on here to make me believe that?
Don't think so, but they should have.
Do you need to go blow your nose? Because you realize
Yes,
that
I
we're an
do.
audio thing with headphones, and
I know.
so
I don't know why I'm
consistently
feeling
sniffling.
sickly. I'm sorry. Hold on. I'll be back.
Oh,
I will be back. But yes, they are Bullet Club.
yeah,
Unless
you're
they
doing some Tony
got
Khan
kicked
shit over
out
there.
again.
Yeah, we're not
Yeah, I
even
know.
watching
I'm
AEW,
like,
and you're doing some real
oh,
Tony
I'm gonna
Khan
put
shit.
9 days, 9
You're gonna
days.
come back all
9
spun.
days.
Like, I'm ready to keep talking.
9 days.
Yeah, 9 days. 9 days. Yeah. It was pretty cool. I mean, I like Chris Bay. I met him. He was really nice, really cool dude. Yeah, I did. I was happy to see this here, and I guess I see what you mean by the Bullet Club. I really don't understand how they're still pushing the Bullet Club at this point, but you know, it is what it is, I suppose. After that match, we did get to the Digital Media Championship. Well, no, it wasn't it wasn't the Digital Media Champion Joe Hendry with Dirty Dango and Santino Marella versus the Design, which was Diener, Angels, Khan, and Callahan. It's so much more than just a mouthful. I'll say this, right? So I said before there was nothing I absolutely hated. There was things that I probably could have done without. This is one I definitely could have done without. And to be honest, this is one that I pretty much stopped watching. It was cool to see Khan. He was one of the guys who I went, oh shit, I thought that guy retired 6 years ago. Half of the Ascension. It was really cool to see him. And I thought he did good, but I'll be honest, by the time Joe Hendry even got to the ring, I was over him. I was over his music. I was not interested. I have not been interested in Fandango since the moment I saw him ever. Santino Marella, I've not been a fan of. I hear he's very nice and a cool person, and I'm sure he's awesome, but I don't find him funny. I don't find the stuff good. Like, so it was a bunch of, to me, it was bad comedy combined with wrestlers that I just don't quite see it with. Like Sammy Callahan, watching now, I was like, man, he's in the worst shape of his life, and I still don't see it. So to me, I just could have done without this match. I know Amanda's a big Joe Hendry fan. She says she believes in Joe Hendry all the time, but Hendry, Dango, and Santino was enough for me to go, okay, I don't need it. It's got to be cool for him. I mean, I guess he hasn't had a match in 9 years, so Santino will be back and doing stuff. I know he was kind of a GM type figure. What do they call him? Because he had it written on his jacket, decider of something, or I don't know. But I don't know. I wasn't that into it, and it happened. So when Amanda comes back, if she wants to talk about it, she can. Eddie Edwards with Alicia versus PCO, the last rights match. This one I liked a lot. This was cool. It's a casket match, which they can't call it a casket match because that's a WWE copyright, I believe. But they had the casket up on the what do you call it? The ramp. Man, was there anything about the Joe Hendry, Santina, Dango match? I basically skipped it.
I just will say that I believe in Joe Hendry.
Oh my god.
I've always did, dude. But it just makes me laugh that it was Fandango and Santino and Joe Hendry. I just had to laugh, that combination of people. Yeah.
Yeah. As soon as I saw all the teams get in there, I just went, okay, and kind of stopped paying attention. And I was over Joe Hendry by the time he even got to the ramp, I was already over it. I didn't like any of his presentation.
That's like one of the best entrances, dude. Like, oh my god.
Hated it. I couldn't believe less than Joe Hendry. Yeah, no. Boo. What do you think of Eddie Edwards and PCO?
PCO, God bless PCO.
He's a fucking beast. He is a beast.
You know, he's one of these wrestlers that I swear to God, I'm like, I would really hate to be there if something were to happen to him.
But there's also part of you that just believes he might be invincible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's a scary part because he's a man, okay? He's a very nice man. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, dude, like like there is a human under that monster.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you take away the jumper cables and all that other stuff, yes. So, dude.
But I did like it. I liked the match a lot.
Mhm.
The only thing I thought was like really poorly done was the shovel hit that Alicia did to PCO.
Well,
That looked so bad. I was like, ugh.
well,
Like, no one
it
would have
wasn't
sold
supposed
that.
to be good.
Yeah.
No.
But
I took that with a grain of salt. I was like, that was not supposed to be good. And I'm like, yeah.
But it was pretty
We should have
dope.
worked
Pretty
on it.
dope. Oh, and then after that, I thought this was the match that you booked: Trey Miguel, Jonathan Gresham, and Mike Bailey. Triple threat.
Why would I book
elimination
Jonathan
match.
Gresham in a match? I hate that little guy. but no.
Yeah, but he fits here.
But he
Fit right here.
Yeah, but he's kind of out of his element when you have Mike Bailey and Trey Miguel there. He's really handicapped because he's boring as fuck. And then you have these guys that are like not human. They're like living cartoon characters. And, like one of these things is not like the other.
Did you feel like that his presence in the match brought did you feel like his presence in the match brought a difference in the match that made it nice or anything? Or did you feel like he kind of stuck out like a sore thumb and needed to go?
He just kind of, for me, I think there is probably maybe one or two people, I think, on that roster who probably would have been a better suited person in that role. Obviously, one of them is in the design, so that couldn't happen. And I'm talking about like Sami Callihan, because that's a total, like, if you want a total different type of person in the mix, I wouldn't put a technical person. You want someone who's that brawler, like someone's gonna do some flippy shit and bam, hit you right in the face, I mean, instead of, oh, let me try to jump on you and you have such gangly arms, and I'm like, oh, T-Rex. Yeah, no. So I think that there would have been like other people, but
I was really unimpressed with Sami Callihan, for the record.
Well, some people like Sami, some people don't. But I'm just seeing him because he's got a different style than everybody, and I'm only using him for that, for this instance. Now, when I think of X Division, I don't think Jonathan Gresham.
No.
So
but
that's
where I thought he was a nice little change in there because he was trying to make it technical and trying to ground the match while the other guys were trying to flip. And so I thought it was kind of neat. I thought it was done well. He didn't do it well, but he was what he was going for.
Ground people well. And it's because of his size.
Yeah. His size
Zack Sabre Jr. can ground people. Bryan Danielson can ground people. And I think it's because it's not as believable when Gresham does it versus other people. And I think
Willa says to
I'm not
leave
leaving John Gresham alone.
And he says he's one of the best technical wrestlers in the game.
He is not. He is maybe top 10, but not top 5.
Yeah, top 10 is still one of the best.
Top
to
10
say someone's one of the best and saying he was one of the top 10. If you were one of the best in the world, you're in the top 10 conversation.
You are in the top 10 conversation, but he is not in the top 5 conversation. That's what I'm saying.
It doesn't make him not one of the best in the world. To say there's potentially 5 people better than him.
You're the best in the world if you're number 6.
He said he's
10.
one of the best. And you just said he's one of the 10 best.
Yeah, it's one of the 10
so you're
best.
Agreeing with him and trying to say you don't agree. But mathematically, you're saying you agree with him.
He is the best.
No, he's not. He says is one of the best. There's a very big one right there.
That's a big one, yes. But 1 in 10. With him being more towards 6 to 10. That's my opinion.
Which is saying you're trying to say he's not one of the best in the world. He's top 10. That's top 10 of thousands. So that makes him one of the best.
Well, I wouldn't say there's thousands of technical wrestlers in the world. No.
No, fortunately, there's.
If you want to add like
actual wrestlers in the world, but I like Jonathan Gresham a lot. I think he's really good. I do like his technical matches, but I think it really comes down to who he's paired with a lot of the time. Because I thought something that was also noticeable about him when I saw him live in the ring, he does come off like he's bigger than when he steps out of the ring. Like, I think it has to do with whoever he's paired with. He was probably in there with somebody who wasn't that big, so it looked like a pretty nice matchup. But then when he walked by me and I was all like, what? I'd like look way down. I was all like, Jesus, this guy can't be 5'1", you know?
Rey Mysterio is taller.
Rey Mysterio is taller than him. That's for sure, yeah. My brother's 5'2". Was taller than him. I was like,
your brother is not 5'2", for real?
Yes, he is. I don't think you ever met my brother, but yeah, he's 5'2".
No. That's what I'm saying. Like, no, Hornswoggle, I think, is taller than Jonathan Gresham.
That could be. I did think it was a really good match, though, overall, and I do like that Trey won. I thought it was done pretty cool. Like, I didn't have very many issues here, but I thought it was nice to see Mike Bailey on a bigger platform, and this felt like a real GCW style match with a higher production, you know, and that was kind of cool. Oh yeah,
I don't think Trey's done GCW, but you're right. It is kind of like that GCW kind of like feel with it.
Yeah,
like big event GCW kind of thing.
Yeah. The Hardcore War, Team Bully versus Team Dreamer. This is another one I really didn't care all that much about. And I'm so fucking over Bully and his dumb shit. His whole fucking... He ruined the entire finish of the match by trying to make a big joke out of a thing that didn't need to be a joke. And it came off so stupid. It's just weird for someone who tries to pretend that he's the only real heel in the game to go out there and try and be so funny. And try so hard to tell an inside joke that's just bad. It's not one of those things where he's like, look, I'm fucking with the marks. They're getting so mad at this. No, you're just annoying the fans. There's kind of a big difference between getting heat from angry fans and people going, fucking stupid, and fast forwarding. You know what I mean? Because that's what
There's
I did.
a lot of people who
God,
are
he's an idiot.
Stupid, fast forward. That was me.
Yeah.
This is the man that ruined Ring of Honor. He was the one twisting Delirious's arm to get Matt Taven to be Ring of Honor champion. And we all know what happened the year he became champion. Shit fucking hit the fan.
Yeah. No, I mean, he thinks very highly of himself and it comes across. Speaking of thinking very highly of himself, Nick Aldis came out. He has returned. Yes. And it made me laugh for a couple reasons. One,
why?
I've met Nick a couple of times and thought that he's very full of himself every time I've met him. And I've seen him be rude to a lot of people. But the thing that made me laugh the most about it was two factors. One, he was on Sam Roberts' podcast basically begging WWE for a job and really insinuating, this is where I'm headed. This is the next goal. I'm leaving NWA because I got bigger fish on the horizon. I'm in talks with WWE kind of talk. It was, who are your favorites, this and that? Oh, Triple H is the greatest of all time. Like, it was all just pandering for WWE. But also that whole interview was just dripping of ego. And look, I'm not trying to say I'm better than everybody, but when you're better than everybody, you just are me. So what are you going to do? If you're like, it's hard to get better when you're already perfect. Like, you go, okay, so your ego did not go as far as you had thought it was going to go. So now you're back to Impact where you started. I wish you came back as Magnus because I'd been fucking hysterical. But the other part about it that made me laugh was that he came in, he said, hey, I'm back in Impact. I've signed a deal, and I'm here to watch the World Championship match because my sights are on the championship, and I want to see who I'm up against. I'm letting everyone know now that I'm here for that championship. And it reminded me of almost verbatim the last time we ever saw Jack Swagger on WWE TV. They had a draft, and Jack Swagger was not drafted. And on that SmackDown, he came out during the World Heavyweight Championship match. and said, I'm at SmackDown because I'm here for the opportunity and I'm going for that title, and I'm going to sit right here and see who's going to be the one I'm going to contend with to take that title. This is it. This is my big run. I'm here to make a splash. I'm here to take that championship. And then boom, we never saw him on TV again. So I couldn't stop laughing hearing him say this because I was like, this has got some real Jack Swagger vibes. Although Nick's not going to disappear. He just signed a contract. I'm not saying he's going to go through the same thing and disappear, but it made me laugh because it reminded me a lot of Jack Swagger. And then also his commentary was, he tried so hard to put himself over and over again, no matter what they were doing. Oh, I'm real good at this. Oh, I'm pretty awesome. You know what they're thinking about in there? Both these guys are thinking about nothing but me. And you're like, no, they're fucking what? I didn't like him on commentary, but I thought the match was cool. Steve Macklin versus Kushida for the world championship. Although by the end of it, all I could think is, goddamn, Kushida is so good. I can't believe they gave it to Steve.
Well, then when you said the other match, you're like, oh, that's why they gave it to Steve. But yes, no, Kushida definitely deserves some kind of big title that's not associated with like being a junior. And I think that Impact has let him showcase a lot of what WWE didn't do. And it's kind of like, this guy is really good. And I think that's that. Nick Aldis he kind of makes me laugh because I'm like, yeah, you're really full of it. But I don't know if it's because I laugh and I sit here and like, you got humbled last time I saw you live and in person, like doing your, your shit. You got humbled. But, like, honestly, like, I think that with him, it's like he's a victim of himself. And I think he puts that on himself that, it's like, you're kind of, there's a lot of you bring a lot of baggage and not good baggage. So, sometimes I think it's with a grain of salt. I'm pretty sure that Tony Khan wasn't knocking on his door because it's like, I already have enough people with drama. I don't need this kind of drama. So I think that helps that the wife is there too. But, honestly, like, I mean, he does it to himself. So, and it was evident when you see him, like, hear him on commentary.
Yeah, Christopher Will says Nick Aldis is a mid-card talent in a main event suit, which is pretty funny because he definitely feels like he's a main event. That's the other thing too, is I feel like that for all intents and purposes, we've seen the best I think that Nick has to offer. You know what I mean? Like, and at no point did anybody go like, I mean, he did very well as the NWA champion for a while there, but there's also a while there where it really kind of flatlined, where you just kind of go, well, this is it. This is as far as you get with it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that, like, he definitely elevated it because it was close to nothing when he got it. He definitely brought it to a point where people remembered it was there and felt like it was important. And I do think that him being the one that Cody took it off of, I think was important. I don't think that Cody could have taken it off somebody better in that regard. I think that was, kind of on the rise of the NWA title with Nick bringing a lot of prestige to that title in that moment. But then after the Cody stuff, it just kind of was like, and then this is just what I'm going to do forever. And you go, oh, so yeah, I don't know that.
No, I think I'm pretty positive that if pandemic didn't happen, his career path totally got fucked because of pandemic, because he was in the way it was lining up was he was not getting the belt after Crockett Cup 2. We knew where that was going. And he was going to go the Ring of Honor way. And that's where his career was supposed to flourish that way and go into that path. So I don't know.
Would still have ended up here, though.
You think so?
Well, I guess if pandemic didn't happen, then Ring of Honor wouldn't have gone out of business. Because Ring of Honor went out of business because of the pandemic.
Ring of Honor went out of business Yeah, because of it. And also because, the one beaming light of hope, beacon of hope that they had, they got rid of. So
That's all irrelevant to what I'm saying here, though. I'm saying is that
but it is
if the
relevant
pandemic
because
didn't happen, then Ring of Honor wouldn't have gone out of business. But if Ring of Honor still went out of business, he still would have just been bought out by AEW, and he probably wouldn't have ended up, and he probably would have ended back in Impact. You know what I mean? Like,
I
he was
don't
always kind of
know.
destined to just go back to Impact. What was he going to do?
I don't know.
Leverage Ring of Honor into NXT?
No, he wasn't he would never have gone into WWE or NXT. No. He would have still been with Ring of Honor, and he'd be trying to jockey with everybody else to try to go on AEW. But I don't know. But again, didn't happen. But yeah, he's kind of like the sore loser. And I feel that with Impact, hopefully, like, he either gets whatever, or if not, he gets really humbled. And I'd prefer that he got really humbled. But
I also thought it was
I don't
funny that Steve at the end of the match attacks Scott D'Amore, which I am so over these fucking president CEOs
Why
being on
can't
screen so
anyone do that
goddamn
to
much.
Tony? I'm waiting for that. Or someone steal his pile of snow. That would be the best fucking storyline ever. Who stole the snow? Yeah.
I mean, I'm over
Some
Tony showing up
disgruntled.
as
I can
much
see
too, is
it.
what I'm saying.
But that would be
But
hilarious. Who stole it? Punk. FTR and Punk. Yeah. Whatever. That'd been hilarious, but yeah.
but so
And the
Steve
Buccaneers.
attacks Scott, and then Nick gets in his way, and the crowd just barely responded. They just kind of were silent there. And then when Steve kind of started to walk away, they're just like, boo. Because they kind of wanted to see a fight, but kind of didn't care about what was going on. It was really weird.
Yeah.
I kind of thought he was going to get a bigger pop, especially because he had a good reaction when he came out. But then when he got involved, everyone's kind of went like, yeah, I guess that's what they're going to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, Nick is back in Impact, and it's hysterical to me. Kushida stood a 1, but it was Steve Macklin, who he's not bad. Oh, man. And speaking of commentary being bad, fucking Christ, this commentary on Ring of Honor was so hard to listen to.
Not
Like,
Ring of
I know
what you mean Impact.
Impact, yeah.
But Ring of Honor was hard because you turned it off already.
Well, I turned off Ring
But
of
Impact
Honor.
was
Impact I listened to just trying to, because I like Tom Hannaford. Hannafan? Harverford? What's his name?
Hartford.
Hannafan. Tom Hannafan. I like him. I think he's good. I don't think he had a very good dance partner here. Not only is, and it's like, it's tough to say because what are you going to do? Like, I can't tell someone to change their voice. But Aiden English's voice is a bit grating. What's his name now? It's not Aiden English anymore. It's like Matt something.
No. What
did he
is
change
it?
his name to?
I don't remember. Hold on. Something
Well, I'm pulling it up. I got all those.
Matthews?
It's not Matthews. Wouldn't let him have a name
I
like
don't
Matthews.
know. Hold on.
Matthew Raywold. So you're right. It wasn't.
I told
Matthew.
you it was a Matthew of some sort.
Matthew.
Whatever.
Ian is not the best, Willis. Fucking relax. He's so fucking God. You want to say Nick Aldis is mid with a main event suit, and you want to sit there and say Ian's the best at what he does? He's mid with a main event mic. But Aiden, not only was Aiden's voice just hard to hear, Matthew's voice was hard to hear, but he was also so forced and scripted in these wins. Every one of these, once forgotten and now forever remembered, because he was trying so hard to remind everyone that he was part of the Forgotten Sons in WWE. But you're also reminding people he was in a failing gimmick that didn't go well, that got everyone fired because of the racist things that were said online. Like, why would you even go near that? Let people forget that. The Forgotten Sons is not something to bring up. This isn't like when Corey Graves screamed out about Cody Rhodes winning at WrestleMania, from undesirable to undeniable, which was what Cody was saying before. And it was a callback to Cody leaving as undesirable. and becoming undeniable, you want to remind people that he had to get from somewhere. This is one of those ones where you don't want to remind people. Let it lie. The Forgotten Sons did not go well for anyone involved. And it was so forced. And after every win, I noticed it was him screaming something that was clearly pre-written because he thinks that's the soundbite. And then Tom had to wait until he finished his fucking 4-sentence long rant about how this person won in this forced, horrible rhetoric for Tom to then say what he wrote down earlier. It was the only time during commentary that Tom would sound like shit was in the victories. I was like, you could argue that Michael Cole and Corey Graves' biggest strengths is in the win, in the moment they say the right thing with the right inflection, and the rest of the match they sound boring. And I would say, okay, maybe. But this is like the opposite. During the match, they're relatively fine and good, and Tom's doing awesome stuff putting together the story. And then the victory happens and it just goes to shit. And you're like, oh my God, how do you guys miss the moment? Like, it is just weird. It was weird and frustrating, and I was really disappointed in Impact's commentating.
Well,
and you can't tell a guy change his voice, but for fuck's sake, to listen to him talk for 3.5 hours is really tough.
well, we can't all be Josh Matthews. Bless him for his 6-7 years he did commentary. But one of my favorites who doesn't have a job right now doing this, what happened to Matt Stryker? I love him on commentary.
Yeah, Matt Stryker was great.
Loved him on. I mean, he was in Impact for a hot minute doing commentary. I think during pandemic.
He was in WWF for a hot minute. He was in
Lucha Underground. He made Lucha Underground. God damn it! I mean, seriously, he's one that I'm like, why isn't he working? Also, one of the nicest people too, by the way.
Also, what is Nigel McGuinness doing in AEW? What's his role?
Oh, Nigel's doing ROH, dude. He's doing commentary. He was doing commentary on Supercard of Honor.
Okay. But he wasn't on the weekly?
Not yet.
Okay, because
as far as I've seen, no.
They really could have used him, I'll be honest.
No shit. But then honestly, what I said was he would have walked away. If he heard Ian Riccaboni rapping, he would have said, fuck this shit. Threw the headset down. I'm done, Tony Khan. This is stupid. What the fuck are you doing over here? Seriously, like, I mean, it was that bad,
Yeah. Anything else about the World Championship match? Or any of those?
That one, no. I really did want, like you said, I wanted Kushida to win, but it was obvious when I saw Macklin win. I'm like, great. You just already told me who's going to win the women's one.
Yeah. So the Knockouts World Champion, the Women's Championship, Deonna Purrazzo versus Jordynne Grace. I didn't have a problem with the match. I thought it was good. I still don't see how these two are constantly in the conversation that people have when they're talking about the best women in indie wrestling or the best women outside of WWE or even the best women in all of wrestling. I hear those things brought up a lot. And I don't see it here, but I thought it was a good match. I thought it was cool. Jordan's power is great. I thought the commentary did a terrible job putting over how strong she is. Because when she was doing stuff that made sense for a really strong person to do, like she did that crazy stalled suplex where she just holds up Deonna for like fucking 45 seconds. And all commentary said was, wow, that's a long time. Neither one of them put together at all that there's a reason behind it. Because someone's like, yeah, look how strong she is. And there's like, but why? Like, tell the story of what makes this necessary for a strong person to do, to strain themselves holding another human. You know what I mean? The whole idea that the blood rushes to the head. And the longer you hold upside down, just imagine being upside down on the couch and how dizzy you get. And then imagine getting slammed right after. Like, put together the story of why a strong person might do that to make it impressive. And not just be like, look, she's kind of strong, eh? Like, she's also a smart wrestler. Like, put over both.
That's what happens when you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. So commentary, I think, failed this match. But overall, I liked it. Chris says stop bullying Ian. We'll tell Ian to get better.
We're not bullying Ian Riccaboni. It's not bullying. It's truth. It's truth. You
I'm
just
also
are
probably
too blind
biased.
to see.
Well, I'm also a little biased and petty because I've heard a few people recently say that Ian Riccaboni is the greatest ring announcer in all of wrestling. And I'm like, what the fuck? And so when I listen to him, all I can hear is this is what people think is the greatest ever. And I'm like, out of your mind. If someone just
I'm
said, oh
sorry,
yeah, I
we
like him
all-
where he's at, he's good there, I'd say, okay, cool. But
not the
um,
greatest. Like, no.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Like, we all know some of the ones who I think are pretty damn great.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
And I got
I
to talk to
fucking love
Deanna
me some
Prazo
Bubbles.
at WrestleCon. She was sat right across from me for a bit, and me and Roy were walking around talking. And
Mhm.
as we were walking by her table, Roy was just like, "Oh, hey," and then started talking to her about a bunch of stuff in Mexico, obviously, because
Mhm.
Roy does.
Yeah.
And so I got to hang out for a little bit, and she was really nice. You know what I mean? She's really cool. But yeah, I mean, it was good. But sometimes I think that maybe the hype hurts some of the stuff. But I mean, it was good. It was a good match. We'll see where it all goes. I hope that Mickey comes back to at least have another match. Like, I guess it's going to be up to her if she thinks that this is a cool way to retire without ever having quite lost that title. But I do think that whoever she was going to lose to is who she should come back and have a match with and lose that one. You know what I mean? Just have that final retirement moment, you know?
Mhm.
But yeah, I think, I don't know, maybe I was just thinking too
What
much
else?
about Mickey, but I felt like it was missing Mickey more so than it was this
Yeah,
thing. But
it was missing her. And I do think that that's not how she wants to go out. And I don't think that's how
no,
she will go out.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. But she was
Definitely.
really nice at WrestleCon too. Bumped into her.
Mickey, oh, I love Mickey. She's fucking
Yeah. She's so
fucking
nice.
awesome. She's awesome. Even had the cool moment with her husband. So I mean,
Yeah.
we know he hated me.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was Impact Rebellion. I actually liked it overall. I thought it was much better than I anticipated it being. I didn't think it was going to suck or anything, but I thought I just wouldn't care about a lot of it. But I thought it was much better than I thought it would be. It makes me excited to see more of what they have to offer. But yeah, I mean, I kind of like it, like Chris Willis was saying earlier, it's a solid B. Wasn't a perfect show,
Yeah.
but I had a lot of fun with it. I liked it, and I do think that after watching it and seeing it end, I did think to myself, it is a shame they don't get more viewership. It is a shame that more people aren't able to access this show, or people who have access and don't know how to find it. You know what I mean? Like, that is a shame.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think that when Rebellion was that weekend, last weekend was a big wrestling weekend because you had
Yeah.
2 New Japan shows that were in the US. One of them we didn't touch on, but obviously Orange Cassidy replaced Eddie Kingston since Eddie's injured now.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, that's fucking downgrade. If I were at the show, like downgrade. But I did want to shout out to something that I don't know if you saw on Instagram. The world got the picture that everybody wanted. It was just 5 guys in front of the 5 guys in wherever, Washington, D.C. or wherever it was where they took it. So it was Sonata and Japanese Bill Murray.
Yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, okay. So there's a faction now that with Takami Chinoku and most of Suzuki-gun. So Yoshin, I call him because I can never say his name, Kanemaru's name. I call him Japanese Bill Murray. He's the one that has the Suntory whiskey in his hand. So always the bottle with him. I call him that. It's Taka. I want to say is it Desperado in that? And then Tai Chi. And then now Sonata, who shaved and looks like fucking 20 years younger. Holy shit. That's their faction. So they were just 4 guys. Now they're just 5 guys. So of course we all know Five Guys hamburgers. Everyone was like, "That's a shirt waiting to happen," or the photo op, and it happened. And I thought that was very tongue in cheek. So, yeah. And we all know the Japanese love In-N-Out Burger for whatever reason, but to see the Five Guys thing was pretty cool. I've never had Five Guys, so I can't tell you. But anyways, Capital Collision, I didn't really get to see anything, but from people I know who really like New Japan, a lot of people were very disappointed. So I don't know, but I'm curious to check out the fucking Zack Sabre and Tom Lawler match because obviously that's 15 minutes at most. So, that's a cool clash of styles that ex-MMA and the second best technical wrestler in the world, Zack Sabre Jr. And if you're curious who I think number one is, it's Toothless Timmy Thatcher. Come on now.
He's really good.
Him and Barnett. I still have not watched Bloodsport yet, but
that's one I want to see.
Barnett to lose on his signature show, Timmy, it must have been a great fucking match.
Oh, did Timothy win that one?
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Dude,
yeah, we got to see that.
They had there was a video like montage that someone had made. I don't know who made it, but I saw it yesterday, and I didn't know that. Well, I had heard that Timmy had won, but I was like, oh, okay, whatever. But you saw part of it, and when Barnett tapped, it was like, oh fuck, I need to go back and watch it because it looked brutal. Just some of the little clips that you would see just for a couple of seconds. It was like, that's a fucking brutal match.
That's cool.
Even Marina Shafir, hers looked brutal.
That's the crazy thing about Marina Shafir is like she's best in Bloodsport. Like everything she's done in Bloodsport is awesome. And everything she does outside of Bloodsport just is awful. And it's just weird.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But,
speaking of Marina Shafir, where's her husband? Where's Roddy?
Yeah.
I'm waiting for him to end up in Ring of Honor.
Yeah, that's possible for sure. Was there anything else in the Impact card you want to talk about, or did you want to talk? Or you know what NJPW thing was happening that I was going to mention? Sasha turned proper heel.
Yeah,
and I loved that. Mercedes went proper heel. She like attacked the other woman at the press conference. She's mocking her with that fake guitar purse thing.
Oh yeah,
that was great.
That was pretty brutal.
Yeah, it was great because it was like. Yeah, heat. And I was because we were talking about it before. All the stuff she was doing, I was like, is she trying to be a heel? Because I feel like she's gonna get a lot of heat if she keeps doing this stuff. And everyone's kind of like, no way, she's too beloved. And I was like, I think that she's not far from turning it up a little bit. And then she turned it up, and I was like, this is awesome. I love this. So yeah, she's being a total bitch. But it also sounds like she might be moving to Japan for a while. She's gonna do full time out there.
Yeah. But you know what? That's good for her because I think that was something that she really wanted. And, a lot of women, if you get the opportunity to do it, they want to, they'll like hands down, they'll like do it, So obviously she's not going to be like, some of the others who were like living in the dojo on the floors and scrubbing everything, like some of the ladies did. But no, that's pretty awesome that she wants to live in Japan for a little while. I think that's pretty fucking badass.
I think she should live out there for a year. I know that when Medusa in the 80s, she moved out there and lived out there for 3 years. And she's still considered like a massive legend out there because of just those 3 years she lived there. She did more and stuff, but the only women's match to ever sell at the Tokyo Dome was a one-on-one match with Medusa. I think that Mercedes has the capability, should she decide to go out there and live for a year, she could be the main event. You know what I mean? I think it's possible, but I don't think it's possible if she doesn't live out there, which is why I think that it was so cool when she said, I'm going to live out there full time. It's like, fuck yes. Like, let's do this. Do it proper. Like Medusa set that groundwork in 88. It's about fucking time someone cash in on that foundation and fucking put up a house. You know what I mean? Like, let's do something, man. Like, she blazed that trail for a reason, and no one's done it since. Like, get out there and do what she did. Like, there's something to be said for it. We were at WrestleCon. Someone came out to meet her, who I don't think. I mean, I know he was out there for other reasons, but he did tell who he was with, that the one person he had to meet while they were there was Medusa. And he went over there and he comes over to the table and they said, "Oh, he's come all the way from Japan." And she started speaking Japanese to him and he lost his shit. He was like, "Oh my God." And
Oh
then
shit.
so then they started going back and forth, just going. And also like, this is awesome. And it was actually his friend who brought him over was Nolinium, the artist online. You ever see, he does a lot of caricatures of wrestlers. And so I
Mhm.
started talking to him. I was like, "Yeah, she's been there for like 3 years." He goes, "Dude, you don't understand. Like, he's been talking about her for days. Like, he's been looking forward to this and stuff." And when she did that, just a little bit of Japanese to him, and then they had a conversation in Japanese. It was just cool to watch and to see that 3 years in '80s had that impact. Let's move forward. Let's get that impact with more people. Like, it's big.
Yeah, that's some badass shit. And it's like when you see a lot of the women nowadays, it's like you sometimes wonder, like, there's very, very few women who, and I can't even think, who since Medusa, who's kind of done that besides people like, you know, um, Awesome Kong, when
Mm,
she didn't know how to do, she only was over there because she was a bigger girl and, didn't really, know how to do stuff and was on one of those weird Japanese game shows. But then she just fell in love with everything that, she was doing the whole dojo thing. She was living on the floor and,
yeah.
in like a gym and scrubbing like dirty, whatever. And she did that whole thing. And it's amazing to see that there's not a lot of women, even though, there's some who are like, oh, I want to go to Japan, but no one is done anywhere near, or there's maybe one or two, what
A lot of
Medusa's
them
done. And
go,
so,
but none of them stay. You know what I mean? Like, a
no,
lot of them go for like a tour or two. Or, I mean, Tony Storm
yeah.
comes to mind because I think she did a lot of time over there, but I think she was like on and
Mhm.
off, right?
Yeah, she was on and off. I don't think she was like solidly there like some people like Kong was,
Yeah,
or, I think Kong was probably one of the last ones that was there a
yeah,
lot. Because Natty only did like tours here and there, right? Like
yeah, yeah. She did a couple of
she
tours.
didn't
Yeah,
like live there for a year, yeah,
yeah,
or
yeah.
anything.
But like, I don't think anyone's lived there since then. So, yeah, I just think it's cool. I'm excited to see where that goes. 'Cause I think it's going to be, because I do know that has been Mercedes' dream for a long time to
Mhm.
wrestle in Japan. Like, she always wanted to be a WWE star, but she also always wanted to see Japan, wanted to wrestle in Japan and experience that. And fuck, she's able to do it. So, and
Mhm.
it's cool to see her go all in and not just like dip her toes in, to be like, no, we're doing this. So that's cool.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
That's where I think it's cool with some of the gaijin that have been going over and, with like New Japan and even to some extent like with Noah, but mostly with like New Japan, where you've got
Mm,
Cobb who's basically pretty much moved over there.
yeah,
And, your Zack Sabre Juniors and your whatever and whatever. But
yeah,
because I think that's cool. But with women doing it, it's pretty badass because it is a huge commitment. And I think with women, it's a little different.
yeah,
So, yeah,
yeah. Well,
it's not all rock
you have
starish.
any stories you want to tell people from the WrestleMania weekend? I'll give you 30 minutes
Oh
to
my
tell as many
goodness.
stories as you want.
Oh my goodness. Well, you know, I most people know I went really with one ticket. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I honestly like going to LA. It had been so hyped for years that, oh, WrestleMania weekend, oh, it's going to be so great. This was probably one of the most underwhelming of the weeks, because I will say that I did not go to Tampa, did not go to New York. Last one
Mm,
I went to was New Orleans, and I had been to the ones prior for 4 years, and I will say that, man, some of those indie shows were top
yeah.
notch. WrestleCon, I think they had some boring offerings, not gonna lie.
Mm,
The Super Show, I'm not a lucha libre person, okay? So, the Super Show to me was bleh, where I think I've seen some pretty amazing ones, and they used to have some really great things. Like, I mean, when would you ever see like Jushin Thunder Liger Ricochet, and I don't even remember who. And I think it was a luchador. I want to say it was like, I don't know. He reminded me of Starman from from the Nintendo Pro Wrestling versus like um Frankie Kazarian and Christopher Daniels, and I can't remember who their partner was. I mean, where are you going to go see that? Or see the Hardys versus Sabu and RVD? Okay, that was like the main event for the first one I ever went to, and it was like, holy fuck. But also, that was the same weekend I saw Rob Van Dam piss his pants during stand-up comedy. But anyways, so I was like, God, this is kind of, I wasn't thrilled with with their selections. But there was the Collective, and the Collective had some really good shit. So me going into that weekend, I was only going to, at the time, for the Culture, and that was the only ticket I had. I wanted to go to, because it was bucket list for me, Joey Janela's Spring Break. That thing was so sold out. Couldn't get a ticket, so I had no ticket going into it. Would I have a hope in hell to get one? Probably not. But I did end up getting one. But that to me was the holy grail shows to me that I wanted to see was that Bloodsport, which I could not get a ticket for that at all. I tried, but then I'm like, was Spring Break, that, and then really that was it. Now, knowing that I've been watching NXT for a while now, man, that was a really, the takeover just was underwhelming. And that shocks me, because I would have loved to gone, and I would have loved to spend money for a good ticket, but it just was not attractive. It just didn't draw me in at all.
Yeah, I felt
And,
like this year too, because last year we got to see like a lot of the announcements and a lot of stuff that was coming up, and you see afterwards and go like, oh man, I can't believe I missed all this stuff. And this one did feel like there was a lot of like, yeah, that sounds fun. Like nothing felt like can't miss. You know what I mean? So we were kind of taking it as we could.
Roadblock hit them bad, because I think that if had they not had it, I think that takeover would have been like $1 billion, or having that pay-per-view like 2 weeks before. That was stupid. It's like, why are you doing that? Because you just basically killed wanting to go to that. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I'm a liar. I had 2 tickets. I also had a ticket to Mitzvah Mania. Okay. So, and then I was not going to Ring of Honor. So, but I ended up going to Ring of Honor, and that was surprising to me. Now, because I did end up getting that Friday had all the good shows on it that day. So I knew if I were to get a Spring Break ticket, I would probably have to leave Ring of Honor early. And I had to. And I was a little bummed, because obviously, I wanted to see Eddie and Claudio. That was the main event. And then I missed the other match I missed was what did I miss? I missed the last 2 matches. So bummer. But what I did get to see, I was like, holy shit. Like, I didn't know Jeff Cobb was wrestling on the, the pre-show. That excited me, because I haven't seen Jeff Cobb wrestle live in forever. And it's kind of nice, because I'm like, yay, you don't have Ocean Spray with you. Yay. So that was kind of cool. But the match for me on that pre-show that I was like, this should not have been a pre-show match, was Willie Mack versus Takeshita. And I know, like, you're like, oh, that was boring what we saw tonight. Yeah, that was. But this one, the minute that those two were in the ring, and then when they first locked up, I'm like, shit, this is the match that I never knew I wanted to see. And it was funny, because I saw Willie the next day when I went to Effie's Big Gay Brunch, and we were leaving, and I saw him, came up to me, and we were talking about it, and I'm like, dude, that match with Takeshita, I will say, that was one of the I thought was one of the matches of the weekend, like top 5.
Yeah.
For me.
I see that. Willie Mack is really good, and he's like, the issues that I think that Lee Moriarty brought to that match, Willie Mack doesn't have. You know what I mean?
No.
So
And also with Willie Mack too is, and this is where he differs with Lee Moriarty, is he's got a lot of power. Takeshita has a lot of power. So when you have these two guys that have a lot of power, it was hard hitting. They both are very quick on their feet, and it made for just like some excellent chemistry. And
yeah.
he told me he didn't even know he was going to be wrestling until like maybe an hour before. He told me he got a call from Sanjay, and Sanjay would say, "Hey, where are you?" And he's like, "I'm over, at the collective. What's going on?" He goes, "Do you have your gear?" And he goes, "Yeah." And he goes, "Do you want to wrestle?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, come on over to, USC down here." And he says, he goes, "Okay, sure." He said, took him forever. When he got there, he was like, okay, went backstage. He told me, he said, you know how they have telling me like I know. He's like, you know how when, you're back there and they have the board? And of course, I've never seen it, but people have told me. I go, yeah. And he said, and it has all the matches. I said, yeah. And he said, he looked and he saw his name on there, and he said his name was on an actual fucking card, not like they wrote it in. And he said it was like placed there because he said you could tell when they were adding in people because they would write it in. He was like, well, goddamn. He said, I sat there and he's like, fuck. Why didn't they tell me that they're planning on he coming, this whole time, right? And he said that when he finally found out and he talked to Sanjay, Sanjay told him, he said, dude, I've been trying to get you, but there was some red tape and people didn't want him there. But he's like, I'm getting Willie Mack. He's from fucking LA. I'm getting Willie Mack. He should be here. And he did. And apparently Tony really liked what he did. Now there was that rumor that said he was signed. That's a bullshit lie because he was not. But he did tell me that Tony liked his work, and he's hoping that he might get some more opportunities with Tony. And he says if it's Ring of Honor, cool. Because Willie's one of these people, man. He's real laid back, really chill, humble. I mean, he's a true homie. And I told him, dude, that was an amazing match. He's like, no. And I said, no, seriously, dude. Because it was. And I implore people to go back. It's on YouTube, so you can watch it for free. Unlike this other Ring of Honor shit. But whatever. But I think that was pretty awesome to see.
Yeah.
Also, I can't wait for Trinity to actually, I know it's coming. I feel it, but I'm waiting for her to return back to one of these Ring of Honor things.
Yeah.
And confront.
She was when we finally got to meet. We got to meet her, and when we walked up, producer lady asked Trinity, are you going to wrestle again? Or are you wrapping that up and just going to try and find other things to do? And she's like, oh no, I'm not done wrestling. And so she definitely has every intention to do it. But it was also interesting because she didn't have a tone like she was sure where she was going, but she also still seemed so disappointed by how everything went. Cause she was even looked at us and she's like, man, like, because she's just kind of was like trying to find the words. I was like, it's complicated now. She goes, it's so complicated. And she goes, and we shouldn't even be here. She goes, we shouldn't have gotten to here. Like, this isn't, like, it was just dumb, like she was just so frustrated with the whole thing, but she definitely is not done wrestling. And she definitely was talking about how she wanted to get out there and do stuff. And she was even saying that one of the reasons people aren't talking about her is because they're just not seeing her do anything the way that they're seeing Mercedes do stuff. And she's like, we even told her, like, well, hopefully that means that when they see you, it's big just to see you. And she's like, that's the hope. So, yeah, we really want to see her pop up. She's one that wherever she pops up, we'll watch.
It spoke volumes to me, and it was very subtle how they did it, but you knew there was something because when she like walked by, because where I was sitting, my back was to the hard cam, but that was the section where it's the official like friends and family kind of section. And when I saw her come around, I was like, oh shit, is this where she's going to do? Is she coming here? And is she the one? So the way they did it and they shot it, it's definitely open to see that. I think she's going to come to another one and see Athena just be a bitch and squash somebody and just be, no. And I think that's going to be, I think if that happens, that she is going to be the one to elevate with Athena that division. And I think it would be amazing because there's a lot. I mean, I'd love to see her versus Willow. I mean, for starters, they just signed Miranda Alizé. That would be another great one as well too. So definitely there's a lot of good, stuff as far as, that's concerned. But, but it's cool. Like when you see a lot of these people, it's really cool to, to see, to see them. And
Raven,
oh,
cheers to Raven coming through. I agree.
cheers. And they agree with me. So, but yeah, no, I mean, honestly, I think that there's certain things, if done right,
Yeah.
Tony Khan would look like a god.
Yeah.
But he stumbles over himself enough that, whatever. But I will say that, was it worth missing out the last 2 matches at Ring of Honor to go to spring break? Hell fucking yes. I will say that one match kind of ruined the whole thing for me. Was not a fan of the Bussy match. Whoever that, I can't remember who they wrestled. That kind of killed it. I was like, you're just
wasn't that against
yourself
Nick
for
Gage and
tomorrow.
Maki Ito or no?
Oh yeah, that's right. It was Nick Gage and Maki Ito.
Yeah.
See, it was dumb because it's like Nick Gage is so intense, and I love Nick Gage, MDK all fucking day. Shout out to him. He has new teeth too, by the way. But I was very like, damn, dude, like everyone, this was one of the ones that everyone wanted to see because it was Maki Death Kill. And y'all were just kind of meh. And I get it. Your big thing is tomorrow and you're saving yourself. But come on, dude. This is spring break, I mean, fucking, step up a little. But I will say that it was exciting the whole way through. I saw 2 injuries that day. I saw the Dante Martin injury. Ugh, poor guy.
Rough.
And then I saw Alec Price, another injury with a ladder, and I'm like, great. This day is cursed. I'm like, I need no more wrestling today because I don't need to see a third. But well, if you count Janela, but that dude, him and Kota Ibushi, holy shit. And I'm not saying this because I love Joey Janela. He's good people. But I have never in my life, and I've seen Joey wrestle a lot, and I've seen him live. I've seen him, in video, whatever. Him versus Kota. This was a fucking level of Joey Janela that I was like, this motherfucker. Fuck you, Tony Khan, for fucking not believing in that man. And then, of course, if you did watch it, he had this really great speech at the end of it. I was crying. But it was a real testament to, and I know I've talked about it before in episode 1, but how that place changes people, because he admitted that, and for him to say that and have that match, and basically was like, there was only one person I needed to have a match with on this. And he said, basically, he was like, Kota, because he's like, you did what I did. He says, you were somewhere where they just fucking changed the shit out of you and you decided no more. And, you left wrestling. But when you were ready to come back, he was like, I wanted to make damn sure that he was like, that was one of his first matches back. And it was the blood sport one, and then Joey. And apparently Kota will be popping up with GCW quite a bit. So want to see Kota Ibushi. I think in the United States, the only way you'll see Kota Ibushi is going to be at GCW. So, and I'm just like, I love Kota. And apparently, I don't know, because we didn't stay afterwards, because my friend I was with was very exhausted. He was taking pictures with everybody and just like meeting everybody. And, and Joey, obviously, he didn't stay. He had to go to the hospital, because if anyone saw Joey, I mean, I saw him the next day at Effie's, but I didn't want to stop him because he just was like, I'm like, he put it all out there. And it was like, this guy didn't bleed. Like, he doesn't bleed unnecessarily like other people we've talked about before. But with Joey, it was like that dude, because that was a brutal, when he cut his head open, that was brutal. It was brutal. But I will say that that's another match for me, that was one of the other matches of the weekend. And apparently Speedball, and I have not seen Bloodsport, but apparently everyone at Bloodsport said that Speedball and Ibushi was match of the weekend. So right there, I've already heard that there's been 2 like match of the weekends on that one show. So that's why I want to check it out. But I implore you, if you don't like Joey Janela, this actually might change your mind about Joey Janela. And if that didn't, then his exploding barbed wire one that he did, really, it was exploding barbed wire one. Did you see the second degree burns? He took a picture. I'm like, that's exploding barbed wire. And I think that was his big fuck you to, AEW and the sprinkler, the sparklers. I think that was his big fuck you because that's what that was. And he had it with Onita, and dude, like that's the guy. That's the guy. So that was another great takeaway with it. And then Effie's was really cool because on Sunday I went to, was it on Sunday? No, it was Saturday, then Sunday. That weekend I went to 2 different matches that were celebrating diversity and inclusion. The first was being Effie's Big Gay Brunch, which actually was a pretty good show. And then the second, Mitzvah Mania, which very underrated. It's also on YouTube as well. Was the card was all Jewish wrestlers, all of them. A rabbi put it together. We went to this temple in LA, like almost in like Beverly Hills on the borderline. And it was amazing to see that, holy shit, like they were all Jewish wrestlers that weren't MJF. There's others. And I saw this article today that was like, he's proud of being a Jewish wrestler. I'm like, well, where the fuck were you at? Why weren't you at Mitzvah Mania? Like you and Goldberg, where the fuck were you two? But it was a really cool thing. And to hear at the end, Colt was the main event, as he should be. And he wrestled QT Marshall, which I'm like, oh, you're Jewish? I didn't know that. So apparently he is. But he wrestled him, and it was great to see. And I think, Marsh, you would love this, the silliness of Colt. He had a lot of children beat up QT. So you need to see it just for that. It was the best thing ever. The kids were, like, amazing. And it's like, that's one of the places where Colt really, with kids, if they're not afraid of him. But it was really cool. And to see how, how he was excited that, like brought in the whole thing, like, wrestling and Judaism, is for everybody. It's very accepting. And it was kind of cool to see both ends of the spectrum about diversity and inclusion. So I thought that was pretty badass. So those are my takeaways. For the Culture was underwhelming. I've seen the other ones. I will say for me, my favorite match, I did like the Kenny King thing, and my boy, shout out to Alpha Zoe. He had a really good showing at that, and I really thought that he got showcased very, very well, and I was really proud of him. And then, but to see Bounty Hunter Brian Keith, I swear he's one of my new favorite wrestlers now. Seeing him in Too Cold Scorp, that was the match. That was amazing to see. I am bummed that we had to leave Wale Mania early. And we actually, because sometimes if you act like you belong, you can get into places where you don't necessarily belong. So we ended up in the VIP. Had we stayed, that's where all of the damn, like, I missed Carmelo Hayes. I could have been hanging out with him and gotten a picture with him. I'm like, God damn it. We saw the reunion of fucking, Hit Row. Holy shit, we missed that. Miss Swerve coming up there. We missed everybody coming up there. But we saw Daniel Garcia all night. I'm like, oh my God, why does this guy stalk me? Like, seriously, like that. It was funny, and watching women hit on him was really hilarious. So, like, we were having a good time. But Wally Mania, if I ever do another one again, I need to stay later because nothing great happened until later when we had to leave. And I'm like, no. So that was the shout out to that. That was really fun. I did not get to go see Cardona because I had a ticket to it, but didn't go see Colt. And I'm kind of glad I didn't go. So let's just leave it at that. but I had like the most expensive vodka drink that was shout out to that bartender who kind of reminded me of Taya Valkyrie, blonde lady, kind of bigger chick, totally reminded me of her. I swear she probably had furry leg warmers underneath, behind the bar, but she made the most wicked. Like I had a Tito screwdriver, and I swear it was in like the cup was probably about this big, and it was basically all Tito's. It's a splash of orange juice. Yeah, it was a $30 drink, but fuck, dude, that thing, I was so drunk. And then apparently they let people vape in there. So I was also high, had a great time. Thank goodness that I didn't see other people because I think I probably would have like attacked, I don't know, Ricky, probably. But, I'm glad I didn't. But
That makes
yeah,
sense.
it was a really fun time. And I had a great time. I didn't get to hang out with Marsh as much because we were on like 2 different wavelengths and ships passing. So, but we did have fun when we got our cinnamon toast crunch heads.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We
I mean, it was cool hanging when we got a
fun.
chance, but yeah, I was doing a lot with Medusa, and so I got to
Mm.
go see her do the Sam Roberts show. I got to see her do which was really cool because I got to hang out backstage for a while on that and get to meet everyone. I had a cool
But
conversation with
you're a big Sam Roberts shill too. So come on now.
yeah, no, I helped
It
him
wasn't.
book Medusa on the
Yeah.
show. So
Yeah, I know.
I got to hang out backstage a little bit, and I got to like talk to Baron Corbin about coffee and cigars, and I got to run into Santo Escobar, and he recognized me from the SoFi Stadium thing I went to, and he was like, "Oh yeah, what's up, man?" And I talked to Joaquin Phoenix for a little bit, which is really cool. Talked to him for like
That's
10
an
minutes about
actor.
stuff. It was really cool talking to him a little bit about like his
Wait,
contract stuff, like when he
the
signed.
actor? Wait, the
Joaquin
actor?
Wilde.
Walking Wild. Okay, you said Phoenix. I'm like, the actor
Oh
is there too?
no,
Shit.
but the Will
God
Sasso was
damn.
there, and I said hey to him.
Mm-hmm.
But that the one show that was really fucking cool that we went to kind of on a whim was because Nigel McGuinness was doing a magic show, and so producer lady, he said, retweet or comment or something like that to like enter to win, and if you win, I'll give you like 4 free tickets to come see the show. And we won, so I was like, oh well, I guess that's what we're doing that night. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't sure what we were doing at the time, but we went and we got to talk to him and hang out with him for a bit, and the show was really cool. And the first thing he had was a video of him doing a magic trick for Mark Briscoe or for Jay Briscoe. So there was like a big tie into a lot of that stuff, and it made it kind of emotional and really cool. What was really neat is we were also wondering going into it how many Pretty Deadly, or not Pretty Deadly, how many NXT UK guys were going to show up, and Pretty Deadly's the only ones who did. And so I ended up talking to them for a
Oh, you didn't
while.
tell me that.
They were really cool. They were really cool. I got to talk to them for a little bit, took a selfie with them because I was like, hey, who knows if I'll ever be in the same room with you guys again. They're like, that's true, and they were cool about it. And we ended up shooting the shit with Pretty Deadly more than almost anybody at that thing. But it was really cool talking to Nigel, seeing what he was up to. I saw him over at WrestleCon after that and bought a couple DVDs of his, and then it was like 2 days later he signed to AEW, and I was like, well, shit, he did not seem like he was all that interested in wrestling when I talked to him, but he's back in it. But I think
old
that's
home
it.
over
I
there.
think we can.
It's old home back there. I mean, they've got a lot of the players, that nostalgic players. There's a couple that I'm waiting on to see. One would be Chris Hero. But I don't know. I was hoping he'd come back and he would fight Claudio, old Kings of Wrestling. That was a
I can see that
tag team that was one of the best ones they had there. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we'll figure out what we're watching next week as we get closer to it. Who knows what it's going to be? I don't know about any shows coming up this week as far as like particularly important shows, but I guess we'll just find out what happens as it happens and then go back and watch what we want. But
no,
outside of that,
only thing really that I'm interested in seeing and finding out Well, one thing I had to laugh about, because I don't know if you heard this, but so you know what tag team we're going to be probably getting, and this makes me laugh. And I know this makes you not want to like turn on AEW at all. We're getting Sean Spears and fucking Ricky. Fucking A.
Zero interest.
I know exactly.
Zero interest.
But I will say this. Jay White, honestly, I'm just shaking my head because, man, dude, I know why you didn't go to WWE, but fuck, dude, you're gonna get fucked over here. No, because it's gonna be comedy for you, and no, not a good use of you. But I did want to say that I did kind of watch yesterday. The only takeaway I have is, Ricky, can you please don't wear trunks anymore and just wear fucking track pants? He did have a very awful, weird run to the ring, but he was wearing track pants. It was funny. Track pants, shirtless, sunglasses. That's the new fit, Ricky. You need to wear that to the ring. Ratings would go up. I'm just saying.
They also took the title off of
Yeah, Hobbs, don't start me with that one. But then again, I did say that him lining up with QT, I don't think I said this on episode 1, or maybe I did, but him lining up with QT, it's like he's ruining your career. That was not a good move. And also, part of it is, you know what? Serves them right for giving him the belt in Sacramento and not in the Bay Area, because technically the Sacramento is not the Bay Area. So serves them right, because they should have given it to him at home, and that would have meant a little more something. It also would have meant a little more if he didn't have QT interfering for him to win. So you know what? You get what you get, dude. Sad, but let Wardlow have his shit. Your time will come again. Just do it on your own.
Yep. Willis hates Tony.
Sorry. Yeah, I know. But you know what? This is what I'm going to say about Tony Khan. It's God's way. It's God's plan. That's all. He is God. And we're just peasants.
All right. That's last call.
Yeah. Cheers.
Hey, producer lady here. Thanks for tuning in. Continue to support us or buy us a drink by following and putting the I in subscribe on Twitch. Or subscribe and review our podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to us. Cheers!
I would never have a drink with wrestling on the rocks.